We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the weekly BrYangle Report. I am Brian Weiss, broadcasting live today from Henry's in Newmarket. As always, thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget, this is a live show, so any questions you have at all at any time, post it in the chat below, and I'll make sure I see it. If I don't see it, Steve's in the background watching. He'll probably have a look and tune me into it, but I'll probably see it before then. Today's show is an interesting topic, a very interesting topic, and something that I wasn't quite sure I would do as a show. Why loss prevention matters more than ever. And we're lucky today because we have the man from our loss prevention department, Paul Morrison, the new director of total loss and loss prevention, is our guest today. He's going to be coming on in a few minutes. He's just talking with Aurora right now. But for anybody who's watching, if you have any questions about the current state of loss prevention in this industry, this is a great show to watch. And please put your comments in the chat for Paul, and we will bring that to him as soon as he comes onto the show. So for everybody who's watching, thank you all so much for tuning in. And I think a show like this is very important now more than ever, because loss prevention isn't just theft. It's a lot of other things involved. Every product has a journey, and protecting that journey really helps ensure our customers get the best price and the best service and so on. So this is our conversation today. Let me just see if anybody's watching and has anything they'd like to say. Hello, Ann and Mike and Jim and Doug. Our regulars are all tuning in today. Thank you all so much for being here. Really, really appreciate you. And I hope you find that this topic is interesting. I mean, obviously photography is the core of what we do, but product is so important to us. And if that product is being tampered with or disappearing or anything that could happen in loss prevention, it really brings the overall cost up in the industry, insurance and so on. So this could be a very interesting conversation, and I hope you all have some thoughts and some questions to ask Paul today. All right, before I go into that, I do have a Did You Know. Now, this is something that it's kind of a two-part Did You Know. One, never photograph your camera's serial number and post that online. There's a lot of reasons for it, but a lot of photographers will proudly buy new gear and like share pictures online, but you have to be careful when you do this. Serial numbers can be used for fraudulent reasons. Warranty claims, false ownership, counterfeit sales. There are so many things that you could lose if you share that serial number. And I'm going to take it one step further, and this is something that Aurora has had to deal with, unfortunately, recently. Gift cards. A lot of people will get gift cards for holidays or for gifts or things like that, and they try and sell these gift cards online. They share a photo of the barcode. Don't do that. Never share a photo of a gift card barcode. It's the worst thing you can do. We've had two situations where people came in and their gift cards were stolen and used. So never share your serial number from your camera online. Never share any kind of information from a barcode on a gift card. These are two very important things that I just thought I'd throw out there as our Did You Know, considering this is a show about loss prevention, prevent you guys from losing as well. All right, from there we're going to talk about what's new. Nothing. So we're not going to talk about what's new. There's really very little new stuff out there. There's a couple little trinkets I could talk about, but I'm not going to waste your time or my time, or especially Paul's time with that information. But I do have some used stuff to talk about today. And, you know, used is what makes the world go round. There's so many places you can buy used equipment. Buying it from a store like Henry's, where you get your warranty and you get your support, super important. I've got a few really interesting products to talk to you about today, and I'm going to start off with this funky red version of the Nikon D3300. Nice and red. A lot of people come in with this camera and they just love how red it is and how different it looks from everybody else's. We actually got a used one in yesterday. This guy's only selling for $329.99, and it has like 6,225 actuations, so it's barely used. Awesome little camera as a starting camera, and for $330, pair that with like an 18-55 or an 18-105 lens. Stellar starting package for a photographer in your world. Now, speaking of starting cameras, we have some Fuji cameras we just got in as well. XT20 and the one-year newer version, the XT30. Both excellent cameras, not sharing the serial numbers. even think about it. Both great cameras. One is 650, one is 990. Both very compact, very well made. Fuji cameras, everybody loves Fuji for their red, green, blue color. They have actually 3 times more greens than any other color. So skin tones are natural. Street photography looks extremely accurate. And they're so compact, they're good for anybody. So check these out. And the last thing I want to talk about for what's used today is a different anamorphic lens. I don't know if you all know what anamorphic is about, but anamorphic lenses are specialized cylindrical glass elements that they horizontally squeeze in more into your frame. And you can tell just by looking at the lens element itself, it's a really funky element that they put on there. And this is a 50 millimeter f1.8 through, I don't know how to pronounce that, but the world will. So there you go, 50 mil f1.8, stellar little lens. And this guy is only selling for $400. So if you're looking for an interesting lens for your Sony mirrorless camera and you want to get a wider frame for a very cinematic look, or that really cool wide lens flare that you get with an anamorphic lens, we actually have one. So come on in, check it out. Check out all of our used gear and maybe pick something up for yourself. And that's what's used. Now, since we're moving along very quickly today, I'm going to get Paul in here a little earlier than normal. Is your microphone turned on? Yeah. Not quite yet. There we go. Just get us all set up here. And there you go. You're live. Come on in, Paul.
Thanks, Brian.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for coming in. When I first asked you to be on, I honestly thought you'd say no. So thank you very much.
I had a moment.
It's a touchy subject.
It is.
And if it's addressed poorly, it could expose us and it can really do more harm than good.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you taking the time.
Not
You
a
had a
problem.
look at my questions. Hopefully everything will be okay.
I think everything will be fine.
Awesome. Now, for those who don't know, what does your job entail? Like, what is it that you're doing with Henry's? Because this is a new position.
It is. It's a new position at Henry's. It's not a new position to retail. My official title is I'm the Director of Total Loss and Risk. So that incorporates both loss from merchandise, theft or missing items, what we formerly know as shrink, as well as other areas of the business where we could potentially losing value from product or profitability, right? So it's kind of that total loss concept where it's not just about shrink anymore. It's about shrink, but it's about ensuring that we're getting the amount that we're expecting to get from the sale of a camera or a lens or a flash.
So even if something's returned and not in the best condition,
correct,
rather than just give them full value, there's restocking fees at play, and this is being more controlled.
There's things like that, and then there's things like, for example, damages coming into stores where we pay a certain amount of money for product, it comes in damaged, we're forced to sell it at a lesser price. And making sure that we're getting compensated on the back end for that.
Yeah, and
a lot of things like that. On the risk side, it's about safety. It's about the safety of our employees. It's about the safety of our structures, and most importantly, the safety of our customers.
Yeah.
When they walk into our doors, we want to make sure that this is a safe environment where they can come, they can get the service they expect, they can get the products that they want, and they can leave the store knowing that it was a good experience, that they were safe, that nothing happened to them, whether it was a slip and fall or something else. That's a big part of my job as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, because there's been a lot of change in the world, right?
There
lately.
has.
And I don't want to get too involved in what our practices and things that we do are, but that's a solid thing that really hasn't had to be addressed in the past, that now we really have to. A lot has changed in the world, a lot has changed in this industry, and now that we have this role in place, Henry's, I think, is more prepared for almost everything.
Yes, we're getting there. We still have a lot to do, but we know what our problems are, and we know what to do to address them. And there's a real appetite with the company for change. And it's not even just on the sales side, it's everything operationally, is that we're really looking to improve, and we just want to be the best company that we can be, and be what our customers expect us to be. That's
important. I've been here since 2006. It's been a minute. I've seen a lot of administration come and go. I've seen a lot of processes come and go. What's different about this than what we've seen in the past?
So without knowing really what happened in the past, I would say it's about a lot of the players that have come in. the company as a whole is really invested in industry experts within their specific field. So whether it's merchandising or purchasing, or to talk about myself for a little bit, loss prevention and risk is, in the past we may have put people in roles that, we just need someone to fill the spot. So even though they weren't necessarily an expert in that field, we just had them do the job.
Yeah.
Now we're actually going out, we're finding those people who have been doing that for a while. They know the right way to do it, and we're going forward that way.
No, that's a super valid point. In my experience here, it's always been people from within the industry that get
Right.
promoted and moved to different departments, and now they're actually looking for people for that department from outside the industry. And
The way I've always thought about it is, you could be the best goalie in the world, but you're probably not going to be great on right wing. Simple as that.
right people in the right place.
Right people in the right place.
Awesome. Very cool. Now let's get into a product's journey, because stuff just doesn't magically appear in people's hands.
Sure does.
And there's a lot of what goes on in that process that you are in control of. So what is that journey?
So, I mean, if you look at let's just take a camera body as an example. So we make an order from a brand, whether it's Canon or Nikon or Sony, and those brands get shipped to our distribution center, where it all gets collected and aggregated, and then it gets sent out to the stores, right? Or, it gets managed through e-com. But really my role is, as soon as that product comes into our doors, right, our four walls, is that we want to be tracking that item from the moment it enters to the moment it moves to a store or transfers to another store, ultimately until it exits our possession. So whether it's purchased by a customer, or it's maybe something we send back to a vendor for a number of different reasons, or in a lot of cases it gets purchased, it gets brought back as a trade-in, and then it goes through our system again. Is that we want to be able to see the movements of those items, because what people don't realize is a lot of what we call shrink, or lost products and lost dollars, is actually occurring within the logistics of a company. So, and it could be something sent to the wrong store. It could be something that was sent damaged. It could be items incorrectly moved from one inventory location to another.
Yeah, that would be something we do when we're trying to process things. That could be done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really the most common form of shrink, and it's the one that nobody ever talks about.
It's true. Yeah, I hadn't even considered it until this conversation. So that's absolutely true. I mean, I've considered it because I want to do my job right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, of course.
that's different. Now, that also leads to inventory accuracy,
Yes.
which is something that I know we've been through many inventory counts and so on and so forth. But I would imagine going forward, these processes are also changing.
Yes.
So we're honing in on that accuracy in a lot.
Yeah, we're really trying to focus in on the accuracy, and as you know, we do cycle counts, and we're trying to get better at that every single day, because it's not just about the shrink, it's not just about the losses of product. What arguably is even more important is the on-hand availability for the customer. So if we don't get that right, if we have an item that is sitting in a status where it's not available to a customer, but it's there, and our customers, some of our products are very, very high demand. So we always talk about the Fuji X100. Could you imagine a scenario? Customers will wait months for Fuji X100, and if you've been waiting for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months for Fuji X100 that was here the whole time, you can imagine that customer experience. And that's, when we go back to total loss, that's a big part of what we're talking about.
Well, I know off the record, you and I want to have a conversation about how that looks. But that is an issue for sure. I mean, there's been a lot of situations, and back in the day when something would come in, we'd be notified of this is for this person, and we can line that up and get those people notified. Now that process has changed with our new POS system, so it's a little bit harder to manage, and it has slipped through the cracks. So it's nice to hear that those things are being looked at as well.
We're also looking at this at a systematic level, right? So it's not just about the practices in the stores, it's how our systems work so that we can set it up to work well for everybody.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, or one of the worst reviews we've had, is when a customer sees that we have something, they make the drive up here from hours
and
away.
it's not there.
It's not there.
Yeah.
Or another store has sold something and they haven't communicated that properly, and they just send somebody to a store and it's not actually there.
Yeah.
So,
or we take too long fulfilling, and I won't mention the company, but I can recall very recently ordering something online at a company. It had nothing to do with cameras, so I wasn't taking business away from Henry's. But it was in my local town, and I could clearly see on their website that this item was available. They actually had plenty of them, and I waited 4 days for them to send me the notification to come pick it up. And for me, that's just extremely frustrating. I could have just walked into the store and picked it up, but because I had ordered and paid for it, I had to wait.
Yeah.
And,
you were stuck in their system.
and it was very frustrating.
That would be, yeah. So again, having you explain that that's something that's being looked at, I think is really good for our customers to hear, because if they've had a situation in the past waiting for something too long, now that's going to start to improve. Now that the processes are in place, efficiencies will improve all around.
That's the goal. I mean, we don't want to be complacent. We know that there's other options for our customers out there, and we want to be the best option when it comes to photography and photography related equipment. We already know that we have the best employees. Every store I visited, so passionate, professional photographers working in every single store. You guys know your stuff. I learn from all of our associates every single day.
Me too, it's awesome.
And now what we need to do is we just need to bring that same level of passion, same level of expertise into the selling side and the fulfillment side. And a big part of what I do every single day is trying to figure out how we can do that better.
And I like to see, we don't need to get into all of it, but I like seeing how departments have shifted. Responsibilities have moved into other departments, like inventory and marketing and so on, are merging and streamlining that whole process, which is really great to see.
And there's a lot of cross communication.
Yeah, that's important.
I'm talking to the merchandising team every single day. I'm talking to the marketing team every single day. I want to know what's happening in our stores, what big events are happening, what product is coming in on demand. And it's a big part of my job is to make sure that it gets there, that the numbers are accurate, that it's there for the customer, that it's there for our sales associates to sell, and that we can just be just the best experience you can have.
And that's not something I would have thought that loss prevention would even be involved in.
It wasn't always that way. We used to just, there was a term called floor walkers when I started, and it was just guys in baseball caps walking around arresting people for shoplifting. Shoplifting is still a big part of what we do. We still investigate those things. It looks a lot different now with how technology is involved. But really, loss prevention has moved into every department within the company. And our job really is to just make sure that things are running optimally.
Love it, love it. And you know, shrink affects everybody.
Everybody.
Head to toe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, protecting inventory is difficult. And, you know, protecting your customers is the ultimate end game.
Yes.
So is there like a process in the future that's going to be changing more to make sure that that's more streamlined and make sure that the customer
We're looking at
is saving the most money that way?
We're looking at all those processes right from the moment that a camera or a piece of equipment enters our environment to the point it leaves. Because to your point, there is a cost associated with shrink. And every company will pass on at least some of those costs to the customers. And it's kind of baked into the equation. The lower you can make your shrink, the better you can make the customer experience and the price for the customer. So a big part of my job is to reduce those operating losses so that we can pass those savings on to the customer.
Sure. And if nothing else, actually survive.
Yes.
Because that's ultimately the goal. Henry's been around since 1909. I really hope that we can keep that going another 100+ years.
Yeah, and you know, it would be great. I probably won't be here for all 100.
I plan on it.
Maybe, you know, 20 or 30.
Now, speaking of that, the culture of the stores. Like, I've been here a long time. It's 20 years in like a month or so. The culture of Henry's, thank you. The culture of Henry's has always been something that's very important. I remember when I first started working here, Newmarket had its own little distinct little culture with the people that were working here. I'm not going to get into what we were called at the time because not politically correct. Okay. But anyway,
we'll talk about that off.
We'll talk about that off the air. But the culture is super important. Now, Henry's is putting a major emphasis on culture now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole new revival of the culture of Henry's, and I love seeing that because for a while, financial stresses, COVID, and so on, that became on the back burner, right? What role are you playing in this culture and in maintaining it and improving it?
You know, I would say when it comes to culture, I think my biggest role is around safety. You know, we really want our environment for for employees, for customers, for everyone who walks through our doors to feel safe being who they are, to feel physically safe, to know that their information is being protected, that their physical presence, that nothing's going to happen to them, that our buildings are structurally sound. It's, for me, I think that's my biggest role. And one of the biggest struggles in loss prevention is we've always kind of been the boogeymen of the retail, and just to let people know that we're real people and we're not out to get anyone. Really, if something happens, I'm more interested in finding out about the truth than assigning blame to anyone. And most importantly, or more importantly, it's not just about figuring out what happened if an item went missing, but how can we avoid that happening again in the future?
Yeah, look at the loopholes and look at the way people are taking advantage of a system incorrect.
Yeah, take advantage or just honest mistakes, which happen as well.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, for sure. Now, how has technology improved that?
In my lifetime?
Yeah.
Incredibly. I went from no cameras at all to incredibly high-def network, cloud-based camera systems. There's technology such as like RFID, which is our radio frequency identification tags, where you can scan things without even really being that close to it. Tracking merchandise from a technology perspective has never been better. How we implement that is still a challenge, because the biggest concern that we have is always about privacy. Privacy laws in Canada are very strict, and I agree with that. So we need to make sure that whatever technologies we bring into our environments, whether it's electronic tracking through transactions, cameras, obviously, or any sort of item tracking the physical movement of an item as it moves through our system, privacy has to be at the top of our concerns.
I like that.
At all times.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's good that you're bringing that up, because I think anybody who would watch a video like this would take comfort in knowing that it's not just about product, it's about people, it's about your privacy as a consumer, and your intellectual property, and all these things are very important.
Yeah, all of those things are top of mind.
Yeah, a funny, fun story that I've had in my career, back in like 1990, I think it was, I was selling TVs and VCRs.
Yep.
And a customer came in at the end of a shift, and this is back when we had the credit machines where you had
I remember.
Right, you had to call in for authorization and the whole thing. So this customer came in and bought 2 4-head hi-fi VCRs. They're like $750 each, right, for a VCR. I thought I was doing all great things. I was in the business like 6 months at the time, and I was doing all this ID check. He had a gold-plated social insurance number. That should have been a red flag.
Yep.
So I took all this information down on the check he was paying with. I did a swipe of the credit card. I called for authorization. Nobody was answering. So I made the judgment call. Go right ahead, sir.
Right.
I'm sure this will be fine. Of course it wasn't. It was fraud. Both of those VCRs were stolen. But I went to a Yuck Yucks a couple weeks later, and sure enough, I saw the guy that stole them sitting in a booth at Yuck Yucks. And I called the police from the payphone, and they followed him home and they got all our stuff back.
I guess it was no laughing matter.
There was no laughing matter at Yuck Yucks that day. No, but ultimately that was my loss prevention. That's the only way we had any kind of recourse, was to possibly see this guy at a Yuck Yucks, where now things have changed.
Things have changed quite a bit. So, obviously camera quality's gotten so much better. So the images.
And they're everywhere.
And they're everywhere. They're just ubiquitous across the board, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're in a store, on the street, in a park, cameras are everywhere. However, the cameras alone, they're not going to tell you who a person is. There's still a lot of work that has to be done in the background. Sometimes you just get lucky. The reality is that
once in my career,
once
I got lucky that way.
I mean, once is great though.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So that's where the prevention part comes in, is thinking about what can we do differently. Maybe in your case it was a training issue with, you just didn't know at the time to how to identify some fraudulent documents,
or how to say no.
Yeah,
you're pushed and pushed and pushed to sell.
So there's a training element there, and that's just a great learning takeaway. You're never going to stop everything. What you can do, perfect is never really attainable, but better always is. And so it's just trying to find ways to be a little bit more perfect every single day.
Love it.
And you take those examples and without embarrassing a person, you just say, hey, we had this incident and this is what we learned, right? So that the next time that person or someone like that person tries it on the next sales associates down the road, they know, hey, no, actually, we talked about this.
We've been trained on this.
And I've been trained, and I know exactly what to do now.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so you are the first director. You're the first person in this position. What are you looking forward to most about your role and what you're able to bring to Henry's?
I think just seeing the improvements, and most importantly, getting feedback from the stores. I like going to stores. I try and get out every week or every other week to visit at least a few stores, and I want to hear, number one, what's working, most importantly, what's not working, and what can we do better. And just hearing that the changes that we're making we're making the right moves, and if we're not, I want to hear that even more so I can go back and correct course.
Yeah, no, I agree with that whole philosophy. Even like when people give us Google reviews, whether it's a good or a bad review, we should hear it, because you don't improve unless you hear everything, right?
Exactly. And as loss prevention, as someone who works for the support center for the company, is the one thing, everyone who works in a support center should keep in mind is that the store is our customer. You're my customer. So it's something I try and keep in mind every single day.
Very cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Before you go, I'm going to see if there's any questions from our viewers.
I don't see any questions from viewers, but there's a couple of really nice comments.
Oh, okay, great.
You might want to read those out.
Sure, yeah, I'll go for it. Let's see what we got here. Drew Karsh. As a customer since 2020, I've been totally satisfied with the service I get from Newmarket. Brilliant staff, great knowledge, and more product has been coming and go, and it's fantastic, which is really great.
Amazing.
That's great to hear. And Ashby says, best staff ever. Everyone is a guru at Henry's. We're so lucky to have everyone at Henry's. Thanks, Anne. Very cool.
Maybe call out to see if there's any questions.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. If there's any questions for our guest today, please let me know. Thank you very much. You don't need to linger if you don't want to, but if anybody has a question, we'll pull you back and we'll get that answered.
I appreciate your time,
Thank you
Brian.
so much.
Thank
Appreciate you. Thank you. Now, just don't go to the bathroom with that microphone turned on. That would be awkward. All right. That was awesome. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate you. Now, at the end of the day, loss prevention isn't just about preventing losses, as we've heard. It's about ensuring products arrive when they're supposed to. It's about supporting our teams. It's about protecting our customers from unnecessary costs. And making sure that when you come into a Henry's, the gear you're looking for is here and is waiting for you. So thank you again, Paul, for coming into the show. Really appreciate you giving us your time. And as always, at the end of a show, I just give you all some reminders of upcoming events and things like that we have coming. Before, I'm just going to see if there's any questions that came through. No. All right. So I will keep on going and do a quick screen share here, because I've got a couple things I want to share. So here we are. 4, 3, 6. There we go. And, oh, I have to do this. Toward the end of the show, things always get mixed up and confused, but that's okay. This is what we do. Boom. Boom. Oh, it's over there. That's why. Okay. There you go. Okay, so there's a few things I want to share with you guys. First of all, for anybody who's ever been to the Henry's website, you always know at the front of our page are all of our specials. Right at the top, you can scroll right through all the cool things that we have and all the promotions. And there's usually something. There's always some promotions from the suppliers or from Henry's on there. But what I want to show you is scroll way down, and you have these cool videos. These are things that Anthony at our head office has put together, or our stores have put together. It's called the Henry's Spotlight. There's always interesting things to learn there. For example, the R6V deep dive, talking about precision and detail, wedding tips and photography tips for weddings, food photography hacks, and those are just a few of the things that are up there right now. So please always remember to check those out. Now, as far as promotions and things that Henry's in Newmarket's doing, I mentioned last week that yes, I am doing a fireworks workshop on June 28th, which just happens to be my birthday. So I don't know why I said that. Everybody's going to do something. Anyway, yes, on that day, I'm going to be talking about fireworks photography, talking about the hat trick, which I gave a Did You Know quick tip before, talking about all the things for setting up your focus and your settings and gear and equipment that you could use. So if you're interested in this, check out on the Henry's Newmarket webpage. There will be a direct link to the Eventbrite page where you can register and hold your spot. And that, I think, is about it. Oh, the current photo challenge. Let me just go back here. The current photo challenge is firework right there. Don't forget, we are going to be talking about the photos from this challenge on July the 8th. July 1st, Canada Day. We're not open. So a week later, July 8th, that's when we're going to be doing our photo review for the photo theme firework. And I think that's about it. And it's 5:30. Yes? Sunday. Which day is that? This Sunday?
The 21st.
This Sunday, the 21st, we're having a Father's Day photo walk. I totally forgot about that. That was supposed to be last week. That's right. And we pushed it forward to this Sunday. Okay, cool. So if you want to do another photo walk with us, I don't know where it's going to be, but Aurora does. So Main Street, Newmarket is where it's going to be. We're kind of going on the fly here on this part, but that's fine. Main Street, Newmarket, this Sunday, photo walk after we're done work. So it'll probably be about 5:30, 6 o'clock that we start that, and it'll be a lot of fun. I will probably be there, most likely. Oh, the three of us will be there, Steve, Aurora, and myself. So that'll be fun. And the final thing I want to remind everybody about is that Henry's is all about you guys. Let us know what you need. Let us know the gear you'd like us to carry. Let us know ideas for the show. It's all about community, guys. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you for watching, and we'll see you all next week.